In this video, I'm going to show you how to save cucumber seeds using fermentation. If you leave a cucumber on the vine too long, it'll end up getting very large and start to turn yellow and look more like a small melon than a cucumber. Those are the kind to harvest seeds from. To begin with, you'll need a knife, a spoon, and a jar or some other container that will hold water. And you start by just cutting the cucumbers in half, like I'm doing here. And of course, be careful not to get your fingers in the way. As you can see, these two cucumbers are way past their prime and are already starting to turn yellow. If I wasn't saving seeds, these two would probably end up in the compost pile. Now that we have both cucumbers cut in half, we can take a closer look at the seeds. Each seed is encased in a jelly-like substance, and fermentation will get rid of that and leave a good, clean seed. I think you can probably see that jelly-like substance, but I'll get a few seeds out so we can take a closer look. Here's a closer look at some of the individual seeds and some of that stuff that's around them. Now we need our spoon and our jar. You just scrape these seeds out of the cucumber with the spoon. It's pretty easy to do, and as you can see, it just takes a little bit of time. And how thorough you want to be is up to you. I usually try to get most of them. I'm using a jar, but you could also use a plastic cup. Seeing how many seeds I'm getting on the counter, I should have put some paper towels down before I did this. Here's what the seeds from 2 cucumbers looks like. There are quite a few seeds in there. Once I have all of the seeds in the jar, then it's time to add some water. You don't have to add a lot of water. I usually add about 2 or 3 inches. Some of the pulp will end up floating on top, and a lot of the seeds will go to the bottom. Then I put the jar out of the way for 3 or 4 days, and this is what you end up with. Don't be alarmed if there's mold on the top, because that's pretty typical. At this point, if weather permits, I like to take it outside because I like to use the garden hose for the next step. I give all that yucky stuff a quick blast from the garden hose, and that will dislodge some of those seeds that are floating with the pulp. After I've done that, I just slowly pour off whatever is floating on top. At this point, all of the good seeds will be at the bottom already, so all of this stuff that we're pouring out is stuff we don't need. I repeat that blast with the hose and pour process several more times until all we have left is pretty clean seeds. It really doesn't take all that long to do. Then once you have mostly just seeds and fairly clean water, do a final pour and be extra careful not to pour out your seeds. As you can see, those seeds are pretty clean already. Using a colander or strainer, I pour the remaining amount of water and the seeds into it and let the water drain out. Try to imagine what these seeds would cost if you went to buy them. I usually dry my seeds on a paper plate, so the next step is to transfer the seeds to the paper plate. And for that, I usually just flip it upside down and knock them into the plate like I did there. And then you can scrape off any that stick to the colander. And as you can see, I lost a few in the grass. Once the seeds are on the paper plate, I just try to spread them out the best I can without having too many large bunches of them. After they've dried for a week or so, then I go back and take those small groups that might be stuck together and just loosen them from each other with my fingertips. It's easier to do with 2 hands, but I think you get the idea. I just make sure they're all loose from each other, and then I let them dry for another couple of weeks or more. Then this is what you end up with: perfectly dry seeds that are ready to be stored and then used to plant next season. Once your seeds are completely dry, you can store them for later use. And to do that, I usually use plastic bags or paper envelopes. I usually use plastic bags for seeds that I'll use in the next year or two, and for longer term storage I use paper envelopes. I always write down the name of the vegetable, the type it is, such as Marketmore cucumber, and then I write the year that I harvested the seeds. I put the bags and envelopes inside these little boxes that are meant for storing photographs. I'm glad that I bought this because it's worked out very well. If dried and stored well, cucumber seeds can be viable for up to 5 years. If you plan to save some cucumber seeds, it's best to only grow one type of cucumber because pollinators can cross-pollinate the 2 different types if you grow more than one. They can also cross-pollinate your cucumbers with your neighbor's cucumbers. Be sure to like and share this video, and if you're just now finding this channel, please subscribe. We'll see you next time.